I'm back! What's up? All the new people here are like, who is she? What the frick is she talking about? But anyway, if you've been following this channel for a while, you're probably like, where the did Dano go? And it's all good things, but I had to take a brief break from my channel because my life got turned upside down in the best of ways. I ended up quitting my full-time 9-to-5 job so that I can pursue music as a career full-time. Woohoo! Very excited about it, but I had a lot of shit to figure out because I still got bills to pay, all right? But anyway, I am feeling settled and I am back. And what a better way to come back than one of my favorite artists of all time releasing a new album. It's The Weeknd. You already know that because you clicked on this, but Dawn FM is out. Woo, 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 woo. Okay, and just so you know, it's Friday, so this album dropped today, but technically it came out last night at midnight, and the fact that I haven't been able to listen to it for like, I don't know, 12 hours or whatever time it is, was killing me. But anyway, The Weeknd's last album, After Hours, personally inspires me so much in my own writing. So I'm so excited that you're joining me so that we can take a deep dive into this album and really learn what are some of the tools and techniques that Abel is using in The Weeknd so that we can apply it to our own music so that we can be the badass songwriters we all are. All right, so this is a long one. There's 16 songs on it, so I'm just gonna and let's start listening, right? The first song up, we have Dawn FM, title track. All right, so I'm gonna cut it already, okay? Because I love his use of like sounds to put you in like the vibe for the album, like right away. Just even though it doesn't seem like music, a lot of what music is like creating that emotional feel, and things like this, like setting the vibe for your song, really are great at doing the trick. Actually, I'm writing a song right now, and I wanted it to be a lullaby. And you know, one of the things I'm gonna do is when I am going to bed and sleep, my dishwasher is always running. So like I'm gonna put the dishwasher sounds in the track because it all kind of adds to that vibe and makes it feel, I don't know, exactly how you want the listener to feel. So anyway, I like that they're kind of setting the stage here. I think not only for the song, but for the album. Is that a flute? Gotta stop it again already. I love the vocal sound that Abel uses in The Weeknd. This is similar to, you know, his other work where he has like a lot of reverb and delay on his voice, and it kind of makes like a dreamy sound that is just so easy to listen to. Oh, oh. Woo! Guys, it's Jim Carrey! Ugh. Okay, side note, I love Jim Carrey, even though like as a kid, he was in The Mask and I literally couldn't watch it because I was like so petrified. But anyway, if you want to go down like a little bit of a YouTube rabbit hole, search his graduation commencement speech. You'll be crying, you'll be laughing, and you'll just feel ready to go take on the world. Anyway, yay Jim Carrey!
You've been in the dark for way too long.
Yes! Oh my god, that was amazing! Alright, that's it. That was the intro song. Wow, okay. Can we just like, can The Weeknd make like all the next jingles on radio shows, because that was amazing. You know, I hear a lot on the internet all the time, just to be on a soapbox for like 1 second, but I hear people being like, the album is dead. And I see where they're coming from, because releasing singles is a great way to promote yourself as an artist and to build your fan base. And because you're promoting each individual song, so it gives you a chance to like promote that and then promote the next one without writing like a ton of music. But I don't think that albums are gonna die because they deliver this whole experience. Like that song Dawn FM probably wouldn't be good on its own, but as an introduction to the album, it is perfect, it is beautiful, and it creates this really meaningful listening experience for me as a listener when you listen to the whole album. And so maybe newer artists, yeah, they might have to do more of the single things just to get their name out there. But yeah, the albums just create something really beautiful, and I don't think that artists and creative would get rid of that no matter what the cost. So anyway, yay, The Weeknd. All right, it goes right into Gasoline. That song actually already started a hair because I didn't realize the transition was so smooth. So let's start it over. Here's Gasoline. Wow, I'm kind of thrown off by that vocal sound. Interesting. Anyway, let's keep going. I also love he's still going with kind of like that 80s vibe that was in the last album, so I dig it. I mean, I will listen to After Hours on repeat every day and be happy. Just saying. Heartbeat beat? So something that I think is really cool that actually now The Weeknd has done this for both at the end of the first verse and the second verse. They actually do two things at the same time. So they want to spotlight the last three words in the line. So in verse 2, it's more to live. We just heard that. In the verse 1, it was lose my faith. And so there's a lot of things you can do if you want to highlight like a specific part of your song that you really want it to stand out. And one of them is to change the tempo. To change the rhythm. So it's like, make me believe there's more to live. So because each word kind of like is its own syllable, when you would say that, you might say more to live, that might be two. You might even say more to live or more to live. So you can have it one syllable or you can do it two syllables, more to live. But when you accent each syllable, it draws attention to that, more to live. And so another thing that he did to create even more of a highlight on there is add in those backing vocals and the other people singing at the same time. So that's another way to highlight it. So you kind of have it being attacked at those two different angles and it really makes it stand out really well. So way to go. And of course, I have to stop it again because you know that on this channel I talk about this all the time. But having some contrast in your song is really, really important to keep your listener engaged. And we just heard that because the beat stopped. So when the beat stops, it's pulled out and you have the silence underneath. That is contrast from what was happening earlier. And it's a point of interest. And it will help us from turning off and switching the song. Nice. So yeah, I am already digging the vibe of this album. It is similar in vibe to After Hours. And I think I read somewhere, someone can correct me, that Dawn FM is kind of like After Hours too. Like he's intentionally making it kind of like a follow-up to that album, which makes sense in the overall vibe that's kind of been carried from both albums. Other than that, I just want to say the lyrics are really deep. They're kind of heavy. I mean, The Weeknd's lyrics are always a little heavy, and he actually kind of does this thing sometimes that like emo music does all the time, where you have like these kind of depressing, actually really depressing lyrics, but then you just like put a little fun beat on it and you're like, see, I'm fine. Kind of like Tiny Rick and Rick and Morty. Favorite show of all time, by the way. And that's kind of the same thing here. I mean, he's talking about heavy topics like what happens after you die, and he kind of thinks that nothing. It's 5 a.m. I'm a nihilist. I know there's nothing after this. Like, that's really heavy. Just wrap my body in these sheets and pour out the gasoline. Whew. All right. Well, let's keep on going. The next song, number 3, is How Do I Make You Love Me? Here we go. One thing that you can do to make your song a little bit dancier is to have syncopation in your rhythm. And so one place that you can put that is actually in the harmonic rhythm, which is basically when the chords change. And so here, the chords are changing on the upbeat, and it creates that syncopated feel. And having a little bit of syncopation has been proven to make the song more dancey. There was like an NPR article about it. So anyway, every time I hear that, I always think about that NPR article. I'll put it down in the description. He's even doing the syncopation on the vocals there by having the line come in the and beat right before the beat drops. So it's like, it doesn't faze you. I need a breakthrough. So anyway, another good use of syncopation there. Yeah, I love this little breakdown. Awesome. So Abel does a really great job of using repetition in the chorus here. Repetition is a really fantastic way to get your listener to remember key parts of the song because you're literally repeating it. And so he uses it in two different ways in this chorus. The first one is every single line starts with, how do I make you blank? How do I make you love me? How do I make you fall for me? How do I make you want me? And make it last eternally. So there's not in that last line. So we have the repetition in the beginning of the phrases there, and then we have repetition because the chorus is just repeated twice. So when I first started writing music, I was like, repeating things is a cop-out for like not writing the song fully, but it's not. And it's actually really important because if you make your song too complex, then your listener can't like soak it all in. So make it easy. Make it easy for your listener. I mean, if you're trying to make pop music, sometimes people want complex music, but most like the top 40 pop stuff, you want it to kind of be simple for the average listener to comprehend and understand. Is it over? It's not, because I'm looking at the timestamp. So I just want to pause there for a moment too, because something that is really important to do is surprise your listener, do something unexpected. And so that was that. I was not expecting that there. I thought maybe the song was over. It's not. So now I'm like, what's going to happen? And I'm like on the edge of my seat. So the Weeknd did a great job. That was by design. That's really interesting, okay, because The Weeknd is using breath there as an instrument, which is really cool. And tell me if you know of any other artists that do that below. The only other time that I've heard breath be used as an instrument is in Billie Eilish. So, but it's in a different way because Billie Eilish, it's like they take the best take of the breath to have like this, I don't know, it's like a beautiful breath. I don't know how to explain it, except for listen to Billie Eilish's music and pay attention to the breaths. They're very important to the production of the song. But here, The Weeknd is using the breath like as a rhythmic instrument, and it's really interesting, especially since this album is kind of about like death, you know, and you're using the breath. Anyway, that's really awesome. I'm really digging it. All right, so it just rolls right into the next song, so I'm gonna pause it really quick just so we can talk about it. I actually don't really have much more to say about this song. I would love to hear your thoughts below, not just on this song, but on every single song. I personally love when music kind of has like a deep meaning to it, and this absolutely does. So yeah, I'm just excited for the rest. I can't wait, and so we shouldn't wait. Up next is Take My Breath. By the way, how interesting that that song ended on the breath, like the, and it goes right into Take My Breath. Coincidence? Anyway, here we go. Take my breath. I saw the fire when you were. Ooh! All right, we have to talk about that. I was like, on the computer just like looking at the song because I was like, I've heard this before, but I wasn't sure where I heard it, and it already came out already, so that's why. But anyway, the intro is really long. It's almost 1:30 of an intro before we even get to the song. And part of the reason I love that is a lot of times when we think about like top 40 music, you know, we think like it has to be this 3-minute and 30-second song, like that's it. But I think that those type of things are helpful guides. And if you're trying to write a top 40 song, sure, maybe you want to aim for like 3 minutes and 40 seconds. But all that is guides. And I think that sometimes artists get bogged down feeling that they have to do something a certain way, and that's just not the case. At the end of the day, your only job as an artist is to make music that's going to resonate with someone. And for this, I really love that Abel took his time to really set the vibe and have that long intro. I really enjoy it as a listener. I also am kind of obsessed with this band, so literally anything they can do at this point, I don't think I would dislike. But you know, this song is going to be 5 minutes and 39 seconds. So if you're struggling with that as an artist, at least I know I did when I first started writing again. I was like, no, it has to fit this formula. It has to be this way. And it literally does not. You can do whatever you want. And that's the beauty of music. Oh, one more thing. Also, there was a huge amount of contrast between the intro and the start of that verse 1. And so that was really important because I was even like Googling a little as I'm listening to this, and it like snapped me awake right away. And that's what contrast does. So anyway, let's keep going. So something really cool that Abel is doing with the melody here is it sounds like a call and response type of thing. So you have the low part, you risk it all to feel alive, and then it's like, your face of me, I say face. So it's kind of like you're having this conversation. So if you're ever writing a song and you feel like there might be like some dialogue between the two parts, or if you just want it to sound kind of like two voices, you can do that call and response. It's a really cool effect to spice up your verses and choruses. There it is again. I love how the beat stops for a second and comes back in. If you are a songwriter and you're like, the thought of like production and making arrangements is overwhelming to you, just try taking your instruments and just pulling them out for a second and putting them back in as a way to create an element of surprise or some contrast. It is so simple. You don't have to know anything about drums to tell your drummer like, hey, just like stop playing for like a beat and come back in. So I love that so much. So good. All right, let's keep going. There we go again. I love it so much. It never gets old, ever. Take my breath. Yes! The hair. So I just gotta pause because I'm loving these 80s synths. So does Abel. But one of the things I hear all the time, which is like a fake mental block, okay? And I say it's fake because even though it's real, it's not real. It's just in your head, which is, I hear all the time, oh, I like to make this style of music, but it's not popular anymore, so I can't. Or like, classic rock is so out, I can't make classic rock anymore. And it's like, yes, you can! No one's saying that you can't do that. I mean, this is like top 40 music, and it is straight out of the 80s. And I mean, even Silk Sonic, like that is Motown. And John Mayer, like what if John Mayer was like, you know, no one plays the blues anymore, so I guess I can't make music. It's a fake mental block. So if you're feeling that and you're like, I really like this specific era, this specific genre, just make music and I promise you it'll be beautiful and you're gonna have so much fun doing it. So something that I think is really interesting that the Weeknd is doing here is they're just hanging out on one chord. They're not going anywhere. And that's not really something that I would have thought initially to do as a songwriter because I feel like you have to move. You have to move around to go somewhere. But maybe you don't want to go somewhere. Maybe you just want to hang. And that's exactly like the vibe that comes off when you don't move and you stay on that one chord and you just kind of jam it. You're not going anywhere. You're just hanging. And I think that that's really cool to help kind of express the vibe and create that feeling kind of stagnation to your listener. Also, it's also kind of building tension because you know that like something's gonna happen, but you don't know what or when, so you're just like, what's happening? What's happening? And so, yeah, it's kind of like building this tension for me. We're still on the same chord. Okay, there we go. Finally moved. Nice. That was really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I don't really have anything else to say about it. So let's just move on. Up next, number 5, Sacrifice. Oh, we got some funky guitar. All right. Again, just one chord here. So they really needed to put that in there because the song was kind of like, especially because it like kind of stays in the same spot, it could lead the listener to kind of zone out, which if that's the vibe you're going for, that's great, but most of the time it's not. So that little break in the instrumentals there is a great way to wake us up. So something else I want to mention here is the rhyming pattern of this pre-chorus. So you have A, and so what that does is, because we have A, meaning sacrificed, night, fight. It's all the same kind of vibe, and then we change to down, B. And so what that does is you're expecting as a listener to have another A, because it's A, and you're like, oh, it's going to rhyme again, but it doesn't. And because it kind of catches you off guard, it does create a little bit of a spotlight on that note. I also love that he's using notes here for the melody that aren't in the pentatonic scale. So if you know the pentatonic scale, it's do, re, mi, sol, la, so, mi, re, do. And that's kind of what most top 40 songs are in. And he's going off the grain a little. And I like that. It just makes it kind of fun to listen to go off the grain a little bit every now and then. I love that he went into a mixed belt up there on baby, because he usually sings in falsetto. Yeah, so sing it. Also, I love that he kind of has that, like, what's the word? Signature. He has the signature, oh! Anyway, I can't do it, but you know how Ariana has her, yeah. I don't know, do I need a signature? Maybe I gotta like make a signature sound. I don't know what it would be. Yeah, that was a good song. I don't really have much more to say about that. So up next we have A Tale by Quincy. Ooh. Quincy Jones.
It's like raising kids, man. If you weren't raised, you don't know how to raise. Looking back is a bitch, isn't it?
Wow. So that was really powerful. I think that music really is a great medium to do storytelling and to tell stories, and hearing other people's stories helps us uncover some things about ourselves, which is why we're drawn to them so much. So I love this. I'm really kind of obsessed with this new trend of kind of just sharing stories, and you're not even singing them, you're speaking them on an album. Adele did it in 30. Billie Eilish has it with Not My Responsibility on Happier Than Ever. And even like on Daddy's Home, there's some interludes in there by St. Vincent. So yeah, I'm really into this. I feel like it tells so much about the artist. And also, like, when I was growing up, my perception of pop music, and maybe pop music has changed. I'm not sure if it's pop music that changed or just my perception of it. But like, it was almost like very fabricated, like very commercial, you know, I don't know, very like put together in a nice little box with a bow and put out there. And I feel like a lot of the pop artists today are really revealing parts of themselves and expressing themselves through their art. And I think that that's really beautiful. And pieces like this are kind of helping make that possible. So I love the authenticity, the realness, and just the storytelling. So yeah, anyway, that's all I got. Up next, number 7 is Out of Time. So I love that so much, because at the end of A Tale by Quincy, the last line is looking back as a bitch. And then in the first verse, the last line of the first verse is, I look back now and I realize. So again, it really creates this really meaningful and powerful album experience. And I think that if you're someone who wants to create an album as part of your art, you know, I feel like you have to make it exciting for the listener, and you have to give them a reason to want to listen to your album from front to back. I actually had a friend who's a local artist here in Asbury, and he released an album last year, and I loved it so much. And one of the things he did was he started off the album with the sound of a door opening, and then he ended the album with the sound of a door closing. And it's just such a minor thing, but as a listener, when you discover that and you pick that up as a listener, you're like, oh my God! And you wouldn't get that unless you listen to the full album, so you feel like an insider and that like only the true fans that listen to the whole album will get this. So anyway, that's exactly what's happening here. So thank you to The Weeknd for making this a really enjoyable album listening experience. And I just want to comment here too, because again, I don't know if this is just something that I'm noticing more or if it's like trends that are changing, but a lot of pop artists are not like belt, it must be trend, yeah. They're not like always like belt singing like Christina Aguilera and Celine Dion and Whitney Houston and, you know, I don't know, all these loud voices. There's a lot of just like soft voices that are really emotional and really powerful, and obviously like able belt sometimes. But I don't know, I really like that technique, the softness. Billie Eilish does it all the time. And even Ariana Grande, she belts, but it's like a much softer vocal tone, vocal quality. Maybe it's just me. If you notice some more artists kind of singing this like soft, easy to listen to, easy to drink down voice, let me know. Maybe I'm just noticing it more and it was always out there. So again, we've got lots of repetition in this chorus. They all start with say, and they all, or said, and they end with at a time. So even though the lines are all different, there's kind of that repetition in there. So again, just a great way to make it easier for your listener to understand. All right, so I have to comment on there too. If you listen closely to the vocals of a lot of these successful artists, they really do a fantastic job of paying attention to the tiny, tiny details. And one of those details is, instead of saying little, when you would sing it just a little, he says just a little. And so you don't always have to say the word that way, but if you notice, like Sarah Bareilles does it a lot, where there's just like these tiny little inflections on their voice that just really makes them pop and makes them stand out. And also, like when I hear people cover some of this popular music, they leave out those details, and I really recommend, if you're doing covers and you're studying an artist because you want to learn from them, really see if you can mimic every single vocal inflection, every single vowel sound and consonant and tone quality, every tiny little scoop and little vocal fry, because I really think it's those really small, minute details that make an artist from being someone who's really good to someone who's exceptional.
Don't you dare touch that dial.
Guys, I'm dying. Jim Carrey again for the narration here. Ugh. First of all, it's genius. I have never heard anything like this in an album before. It's blowing my mind and I'm so happy about it. Okay, let's see what Jim Carrey has to say.
It's like the song says, you are out of time. On 103.5 Dawn FM.
Guys, does that just not make you the happiest person on earth? Wow. Yeah, wow, that's all I have to say. Thanks, Jim Carrey. Can I get Jim Carrey to be the narrator on my album? That would be really cool. All right, we've got another feature on this next song. Here is Here We Go, Da 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 Again, featuring Tyler, the Creator. Here we go. Again. I couldn't resist. The Weeknd uses that melody a lot. I really like it. I think that sometimes when I am writing my own music, and I tend to repeat some things from one song to the next, my initial reaction is, oh, I can't do that because I already did it in the other song. But you have to remember that like you are allowed and you should have a style as an artist, that when you listen to something and you're like, that's a Weeknd song, you know, I want people to listen to my music and say, that's a Dano song. And so not only is it okay to carry over some similarities from your other songs into whatever song you're writing, you should do it. I mean, especially if it's something that you really love. Like, why not? Make it your thing. So anyway, I like that here. So I love the feel of that verse. So yeah, that whole thing was one verse. And instead of it being so structured where your verse is usually like a certain number of bars and that's it, it really came off as like him just kind of saying what he had to say, and it's going to take as long as it needs to take to say it. And I love that. It was very freeform and very easy flowing. So I love that structure. At least like when I write my own music, sometimes I'm like, okay, the verse has to be this many bars, but let the verse be as short or as long as it needs to be to get your message across. I think if there's anything that like I'm learning from a lot of the modern music today is that's what people are doing. They're like, no one cares anymore in the best of ways. Like everyone's just making the music that needs to be made and I'm here for it. Okay, anyway, let's keep rolling into the chorus. Okay, so it was really subtle, but I love this technique so much. If you listen really closely, there's like a bell that's like do 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 to match the vocal part right there. So let's just listen to it again. I just think that's a really fun production technique. I just love the vulnerability. You know, about admitting that you're scared to fall back in love again. I mean, you even have like talking about the prenup already, and it seems like the relationship didn't even like just started. So yeah, I kind of like the vulnerability of admitting that you're scared to dive into it. The number one station of free your soul. I'm obsessed with this Dawn 103.5 thing. Oh my gosh, they're just playing into it so good. Oh my gosh, it's making me so happy. All right, that's it for that song. So again, it was very simple with this structure. You just kind of have a free-flowing verse from The Weeknd, then another free-flowing verse from Tyler, the Creator, and the chorus, and then you got that little Dawn FM little radio jingle at the end. It was really, really a simple song. Anyway, up next, number 9 is Best Friends. So this is a really common intro idea when you don't really have a lot of instruments, maybe you only have one. And the reason it's so great is because as you build on more instruments, it creates some variation in your song. Also, it goes somewhere because you're building. So I hear that all the time in pop music and also like all types of music do that. Oh, one more thing. But again, if you don't play an instrument and you're just a songwriter and you are trying to direct other people who are playing your songs on how to, I don't know, like how to make like a fun arrangement. You don't have to know how to play any instrument to be like, okay, we're just gonna start with the drums, that's it. Then the bass is gonna come in, then the guitars are gonna come in. So again, I know that I mentioned that earlier, but I think that sometimes we feel that if we don't know all these instruments that we're not capable of creating an arrangement that is really good, but you are. Anyway, let's keep going. See, we're building already. Love it. So I really like something that he did with the background vocals, if you listen closely, is a lot of the background vocals in this so far have been like, oh yeah, oh baby, oh no, like just like little, you know, words like that. But sometimes if you need a background vocal, you can also kind of play on the words that are being said. So this line is things you want, I'm not looking for, and then the background vocal is I'm not searching. So just a great way to spice up your background vocals. I love how the drums pulled out there. Dude, this Dawn FM radio stuff is never gonna get old. All right, yeah, I'm just really loving the authenticity and honesty in The Weeknd's lyrics. I mean, his lyrics are always honest, so of course I was expecting it to be that way, but that's part of the reason why I love The Weeknd. All right, up next, number 10 is There Someone Else? Ooh, that's a fun little thing. So that's another really simple way to have some repetition in your songs is just to repeat the last word of a phrase. So Abel does that twice there. I swear I changed my ways for the better, because I want to be with you forever, forever. Oh! So something that's common about The Weeknd is a lot of his music is very like vibey and jammy, and I love that. I think it's really fun to listen to. Like it's almost like a song or an album that you could just kind of immerse yourself in fully and just enjoy the experience of the album. And so that's kind of what's happening here. I feel like is they're just vibing. Like I love it. Actually, Childish Gambino does that a lot too. I'm yawning so much I literally yawned into the next song. I have no excuse to be yawning, except for that I only had 1 cup of coffee today and I usually have like 3. Alright, yeah. Anyway, that's all I have for that one. Up next is Starry Eyes, number 11. Wow. I couldn't even stop it to talk about it because I was just like really in the zone for that one. Yeah, again, this song has like no structure to it. It's just poetry or writing. No, it's like a page, you know, torn out from Abel's journal and he's just like playing some chords and singing how he feels. It's like very raw, very authentic. And yeah, I feel like that's true artistry right there. Whew, love that one. All right. Let's move right along. I'm kind of scared of this next song because it's called Every Angel is Terrifying. And I'm a little terrified. All right, here we go. I love those crunchy, distorted synths. See what I mean about the vibe? Like this whole album is just a vibe.
Who, if I cried out, would hear me among the angels' order? Every angel is terrified.
So it's so interesting because on one hand, like the song is very 80s, but on the other hand, it's very futuristic. And again, I just love that like someone's just reading poetry and it's kind of set to music as it's spoken. And I think that's really cool. Maybe I should do that in one of my songs. I've never done that before in my songwriting history. You know what? I'm gonna challenge myself to do that because it's really cool. Why not?
Compelling work of science fiction. Makes your current life look like a total comatose snooze fest.
Wait, can we just read that line again? So obviously this is like a tacky like movie, what's the word? Like a tacky movie promo for the afterlife in the future. And critics say, afterlife makes your current life look like a total comatose snooze fest. I'm dying. Okay, not literally. Although this album is all about death. Clearly, that's been on a lot of our minds over the past 2 years.
Future of everyone's fate. Nigel and Fred call in 1-800-414-4444.
What happens if we call that number? I'm doing it right now. Wait, you're gonna go on speakerphone. All right, 1-800-414-4444. I'm scared. Okay, let's see what happens.
For directory assistance, press 9.
9? Oh, it doesn't work. I was kind of hoping it would be something promo for the album. It's fine.
1-800-444-4444.
Oh wait, I had it wrong. It's 1-800-444-4444. 444-4444. Okay, let's try this.
Thank you for calling MCI. Our system indicates you are calling from 908.
It's MCI.
If this is the number you are calling about, press 1. If calling to confirm your telephone number, press 1. For questions about Verizon service for your home, business, or wireless, press 2. The number we read back to you is the number our system indicates you called from. If you need to hear the number again, please hang up and redial. Thank you.
Well, that was weird. Anyway, what is MCI? Or I'm going down a rabbit hole. Oh my gosh. Okay, so MCI stands for mild cognitive impairment, and it's for older adults that have memory or thinking problems. So I guess if you forget your phone number, you can call that number and it'll tell you your phone number. That's very interesting. That can't be a coincidence. That he probably picked that number on purpose because like it's about aging and he's like an old gentleman on his album cover here, and the whole thing is about getting old and dying. Wow, okay. Glad I called that number.
Now, order after 495 plus.
anyway, that was it. Again, I really think that songs like that just really enhance the album experience. It was kind of like a fun play on some really heavy topics. So anyway, we're in the home stretch here. We only have 4 songs left on this 16-song album. Up next is Don't Break My Heart. So the melody technique that Abel is using here is called static melody, and so that's kind of when it doesn't really go anywhere, it just kind of stays static on one note or like, you know, 1 or 2 notes. I use that all the time in my writing. Halsey uses that technique a lot, and yeah, it's just, if you're looking for melody ideas, it can really only be static, which is flat, ascending, going up, descending, going down, or you can have a jump. So it's kind of gotta be in the bucket of one of those. But yeah, I like the static melody, especially for verses. Remember before we were talking about how I feel like really exceptional vocalists take the time to really like pay attention to the details? Here's another one. It's not destiny, it's destiny. Like, listen to that. Those are the small details that make these people amazing. Hear that? I guarantee you, if people would ever cover this song, that they would miss that. Don't miss it. Again, we got repetition with the word don't here. If you're like ever stuck with your choruses or whatnot, throw in either a 1-word chorus, because you can literally vibe on 1 word, or pick a word to make the whole chorus around, and just repeat phrases with that word in it, and you can have some repetition, so it kind of makes it a little easier on your end, but also is something that your audience is going to love. Again, those 3 phrases, they all start with the word I. Ooh, okay, so right there, again, we have some contrast. So the song is sounding one way, and then all of a sudden, whoop, we got a different voice over here. So gotta keep it fun. Awesome. All right, let's keep moving along. Up next, we have I Heard You're Married featuring Lil Wayne. All right, here we go. I have the best dance moves ever in the history of the earth. Don't you forget it. And that's how you get canceled on the internet. So something I want to mention about the lyrics here, I heard you were married, girl. I think that as a songwriter, it's really difficult to find the right balance between showing instead of telling, and telling when it's appropriate in the song. So at least I always struggle with that as a songwriter, because it's like, am I just telling? So this is telling, I heard you were married. Showing would be like, I saw a ring in your bag, you know, or something like that, where you're not really like explicitly saying what it is, but you're like setting the stage to kind of, I don't know, get to the same point. 9 times out of 10, showing is better instead of telling, because it allows the listener to kind of create the picture in their own mind, and really, like, I don't know, it sets the stage. It's a little more descriptive, and it's, I don't know, a little more deep and meaningful. But sometimes you want to tell. You want to specifically just say, I heard you were married. And it works really well for this chorus. The whole point of this is, yeah, it is hard to know when is the right time, but I think that as a songwriter, as long as that choice is thoughtful, it's the right one for you. If you write something, you're like, oh, you know, I feel like my chorus is a little bland. Oh, I'm doing a lot of telling. I didn't realize that. Let me like do some showing and see if that spices it up. Or if you're like, I just want to be matter of fact and upfront, I'm just going to say it how it is, then I think that just telling will work in that scenario. So yeah, anyway, it's really cool when you hear a good example of just telling it like it is. Sometimes we all need that, right? Yes, Lil Wayne. By the way, rappers do this all the time, and I love it, and I'm trying to like incorporate some of it into my own lyrics, but they do things like, I thought we were some lovebirds, canaries. We're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they do that all the time, and I never have that style of writing in my own lyrics. I'm gonna try to throw it in next time I'm writing. So again, this is another example where like the lyrics and the meaning of the song is like heavy. You know, it's about like cheating on your husband, which is heavy, but then also it's kind of like wrapped around like this sugar coating of like a fun 80s beat. So yeah, it kind of helps it go down a little bit, I guess. Ooh, we got the classic fade out ending. All right, let's keep rolling right along. Seriously, in the home stretch now, 2 songs left. Up next is Less Than Zero. Oh, nice. So I love the function of that synth there, that little ascending thing. If there's it depends what vibe you're going for, but 9 times out of 10, you generally want your listener to have something to listen to throughout the course of your song. So if there's like a break in your lyrics and there's not really much going on in the instrumentation, it's really good to just throw a little melody line somewhere just so that it gives your listeners ear, you know, to do something while it's time for the lyrics to come back in again. And the lyrics of this chorus are very simple, but they're easy to digest as a listener, and they're also really deep because I can't get it out of my head. No, I can't shake this feeling that crawls in my bed. I try to hide it, but I know you know me. I try to fight it, but I'd rather be free. It's not too specific because he doesn't really reveal a lot about it, but we all can relate to that sentiment and that feeling. Like we've all been there in our own way, in our own stories. So yeah, by kind of keeping it generic, we can relate to it. Which, by the way, doesn't mean that you should never be specific because sometimes like the specificity of certain lyrics can really help create a mental image and a picture and really take someone else to put them in your shoes if you're trying to set the stage or set the scene. But for something like this, the generality of the sentiment really works because it's very relatable to really anyone who's listening to it. Again, did you hear that? It wasn't middle. Middle. The small details, I'm telling you. I'm just like loving this chorus. I love this part so much. I know, it kind of the song is like, it's just like this vibe. I can like throw my lighter in the air. They did the instrumental drop there. It's so common. People do it all the time. The reason I bring it up is because even though people do it all the time, a lot of time when I'm listening to local artists, they have all of the instruments play the entire time from front to back. And I feel like it's such a rookie mistake. Like you don't have to be an expert at composition or arranging just to know that sometimes the instruments should drop out. Sometimes some instruments should drop out. If you're like jamming with your band and you're playing, the drummer is playing front to back, the bassist, the guitars, everyone's playing front to back, you're probably in need of a little freshening up. Just doing simple stuff like that, it makes a world of a difference. Acoustic guitar, yes! Wow. This is very intimate. This is a big deal, right? That there's acoustic guitar in here. Because when was the last time that you heard acoustic guitar in a Weeknd song like by itself like this? And I think that part of the reason that I love it so much is all of the like fancy instruments and synths and all that stuff is stripped and it's just a man and his guitar. It's like very raw. It's very open mic-y when you have that. It's a very intimate feeling and we're at a very intimate part in the song, and that is just nailed by surprising us, stripping away everything. I mean, he still got the vocal effects on, but yeah, wow. All right, I have to say I hate picking favorites because I feel like we spend way too much time like comparing songs and whatnot. But that song was definitely one of the favorites on this album. I really, really like Less Than Zero. Okay, we have 1 song left. First of all, if you are still watching this far in the video, mwah, I freaking love you. You are literally the best. Come be my best friend. Say what's up. Send me a DM on Instagram at Dano Lady Be Good. I would love to connect. I would love to hear some of your music that you're working on. So please, be my friend. And if you, and I just want to thank you so much for liking and subscribing to my channel. It really does help this channel reach a wider audience. So I'm so grateful for you to doing that. But anyway, let's take it away. We have one song left. It's called Phantom Regret by Jim, and I wonder if that Jim is Jim Carrey, but I guess we will find out. Here we go. Here's Phantom Regret by Jim.
You're tuned to Dano FM.
It is Jim Carrey.
In the middle of nowhere on your dial. Songwriter was humming with the pain.
I literally have chills. Can you see my arm hair standing up?
When your body's long gone, in its grace.
Literally chills. I'm like,
Heavens for those who let go of it. Considering flowers, they don't try to look right. They just open their petals.
no, I can't even listen to this. Okay, I just have to pause on that line for a moment. That like strikes a personal chord because, you know, one of my biggest things as an artist, one of the hardest things for me as being my own artist was I really struggled with comparing myself to others. That's why I'm weird about like not picking favorites. And I did, and I would go to open mics and I would hear all these amazing people perform and I would be like, I don't sound like that. And I would get so mad and frustrated and quit. I quit for like 10 years. And one of the things that kind of helped me out of that mindset, that comparison mindset, was the fact that, I don't know, I read a quote somewhere about how flowers, you know, don't compare yourself with the flowers next to them. Like a daisy is beautiful and a lily is beautiful and an orchid is beautiful. And they're not like out there trying to find out which is the most beautiful flower. Like they're all beautiful, even though they're all different in their own way. And so that kind of sentiment is something that really helps me realize that my sound is unique and that's something that is celebrated and not something that I should be ashamed of or embarrassed of. So that line just like really struck a chord. Consider the flowers. And also it's about perfection here, right? Like you are who you are. You don't need to change who you are. You need to be yourself. You need to be who you are because who you are is beautiful. And that's all kind of wrapped up in these two lines here. Whew, okay. Let's keep going. Give it to me, Jim.
May peace be with you.
That line, you gotta be heaven to see heaven. Oh, oh. Actually, like, hold on, I'm gonna do this right now. This is on my board, this quote, which is a person of good intention looks to change the world. A person of good character looks within. And I realized that I was kind of spending so much time trying to help everyone else when really I was the one that needed the most help. And yeah, it's amazing. Like the more I worked on myself and the more I worked on becoming the best person I could be, all of a sudden I started seeing the world with kinder eyes and the whole world around me became a little more kinder, even with all this darkness and horrible things that are going on. You know, so yeah, you got to be heaven to see heaven. It's powerful stuff right there. I love it. And we end the album with some of the same sounds that we started the album with. Wow, oh my gosh. I feel like I need a like detox from this album. It was so good. I feel like this album is, honestly, I feel like this album is not for everyone. This album is for people that are looking for a deeper meaning in music. And yeah, I feel like I wonder how this album is going to perform because it's not very commercial and I love that. But at the same time, a lot of major artists are not doing the commercial thing anymore. They're really finding their own voices and their own sound. And this album is such a great reflection of the time that we're going through. This album is like healing in a way. It's spiritual. It faces some really difficult questions that are coming up a lot right now with everything that's going on in the world. So yeah, music heals. Music is the most powerful thing in the world. Well, art is the most powerful thing in the world in all of its shapes and forms. And Thank you to Abel, thank you to The Weeknd, and thank you to you for tuning in and listening with me. Please send me a DM on Instagram at DanoLadyBeGood or leave a comment. Let me know all your thoughts about this album. I am just completely blown away and I'm totally buying this on vinyl. By the way, if you want to buy it on vinyl, please help me out and buy and use my affiliate link below because I just quit my job and I got no money now, okay? So anyway, thank you so much. As I always end this, just remember, trust yourself, love yourself, be yourself. You got this. Mwah. Thank you so much and I'll see you next time. Hi, Dano from the future here. I just woke up, so sorry about my voice. But I had to tell you that last night I re-listened to the album again with headphones on. Guys, you have to do it. You have to listen to this album with headphones on because there are some songs where the panning is literally used like an instrument. So how they pan it, like I swear it was like a light show for your ears. Like it was like over here, then it was like ba, ba, ba. It was wild. I've never heard anything like that before. So anyway, please do yourself a solid and listen to this whole album on headphones, okay? Mwah! Love you.